everybody. Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. Thank you for watching and listening, and welcome back to my podcast entitled Write Service. Write your own paycheck, the path to making $100,000 a year when writing service. Because at this recording, 20% of you are doing just that, making $100,000 or more. And if you want to continue to do that and make more than even that, then keep watching these podcasts and invest in my training, and I will give you the template to do so. If you're one of the 80% out there that are not making $100,000 a year writing service, then what's wrong? I mean, come on. I mean, you got to keep listening to this podcast. I'll show you how to do it, but you're going to, at some point in time, going to have to invest in yourself, invest in your people to get to those kind of numbers, because they are certainly possible. And you say, how can I prove that? Because 20% of you are doing it. Now, last week, I really hit a note because we were talking about how I'd been doing a whole series of workshops across the United States of America and Canada, both private and public workshops. And in doing so, I discovered there was a lot of question about the processes or lack thereof that you have on your service drives. Throughout that podcast, I mentioned a couple times that if you're not sure you have a process or you have a process, you could call us or send us your process, and we would review it, and we would tell you whether or not it was a good one, a bad one, if it was missing things, and we'd also explain to you what our process was. Well, you took me up on it in a big way because I got lots and lots of telephone calls, lots of emails. And so to help some of you that may not have had time to contact me or call me on the telephone or whatever, let me share with you 5 of the big holes that I saw here in people's processes. Okay. The first thing that I saw, and probably the biggest thing that I saw is that you did not have a clear process. Your process that you sent me in written form said sometimes we did this and we do this when we can. And it was just clear, it was muddy, okay? And it was not written, and many times it wasn't even written down. When some of you would call and talk to me, I said, can you send this to me in written form? Can you send me a PDF, an email or something? And you didn't have it written down. It wasn't clear. I mean, I don't know how you expect a process to work if you don't even have it written down. And I don't know how you expect a process to work if you say if, and, or but, or sometimes. I mean, it just didn't make sense. That was the big thing I saw. Number two, many of you thought you had a great process, and some of you did have, but you then would tell me, and when I ask you, well, how much is the process executed, the average number I got was 50% of the time. For example, I would say, do you have a multi-point inspection process? Oh, yes, we do. Do you like it? Oh, yes, we do. Do you use it? Yes, we do. What percentage of the time do you think you use it? 25%, 50%, 70%, 100% of the time. And you know the average person said 50% of the time? 50% of the time? I would ask you if you had something like texting or emailing or one of the other things, you'd say you'd use it 50%. I'd ask you, do you have a walk-around process? And those of you that said yes, you said you used it when you could, which is an average of about 50 to 60% of the time. Listen, that's not a process. You're setting yourself up for failure. I go into service drives all the time. We go into a lot of places that are really struggling with their survey scores. We over the years have called hundreds and hundreds of people, and we've asked them about the survey scores they gave you, the bad ones. And here's the kind of thing that happens when you have half a process that you use half the time. Here's the questions I get from people who get, for example, a walk around. Here's what they'll say. I noticed they walked around my vehicle, but they didn't walk around the vehicle before me, and as I stood there and watched, they didn't walk around the one after me, and then the one after that they did, and the one after that they did, but the one after that they didn't. And so, are they walking around my car because I think I have more money? Are they walking around my car because they think I'm dumber? Are they walking around my car because they think I don't know what I'm doing? I mean, it seemed like to me they were taking advantage of people who may not know as much about a car. On the flip side, when it didn't happen, you can imagine, you know what I'm going to say, the question would be, I noticed they walked around the guy's car in front of me, they walked around the lady's car behind me, but there were several of our cars they didn't walk around. And is it because my car's older, because it doesn't look like I have the money, because it doesn't look like I could spend the money? I mean, what's different about me? Why didn't I get the service that everybody else got? You see, either way, whether they get what it is you're doing or they don't get it because you didn't do it, there's consequences to both. When you have a process means that you have to do it every single time. I mean, imagine any of these places that we went to, if you went in and 50% of the time your service was delivered one way and 50% the other way, you'd be confused. You wouldn't know what you'd have, and you would leave that business. And that's what people are doing to you. With the national average customer retention being 30% at car dealerships, with customer retention 30%, a number that put most business out of business, that's why they're leaving you. You don't have a consistent process. And like I said last week, I know I'm preaching here. It's never been more important to have a process in your business than it is right now. As an advisor, it's never been more important for you to have a consistent process that you do it the same way every time with every customer every time. As a manager, your staff does it the same way every time. As a business, the same way every time. Why? Because that's why you go to places and you go back to places, because you know what you're getting before you go in there, because they have a consistent process that delivers the same thing the same way every time. Come on. I don't see why this is so hard to get. The third thing that I saw that was wrong with processes is there's too many hands in putting the process together. Now, here's what I mean. I got to be very careful saying this, because I've got some partners out there that I don't want to offend, but for example, you'll see, so I'll say it this way. You'll sit down and write your process, and then you bring in a new product. And when that new product comes on your service drive, that new product and that company has a process for selling what it is, or distributing, or getting out there what they have. So then they adjust your process, okay? And then somebody else comes in with a software program or something like that, and then they adjust your process, and then before you know it, you don't have a process. You have a process that you put together that you've allowed people to come in and adjust and change, and that won't work. I mean, it's okay, and you should take advice from these people on how to integrate what they're bringing to you into your process, but I wouldn't let it necessarily replace everything until you've proven that it's going to work. Now, there's two more things that I've noticed that's going on that's wrong with the processes that you have, assuming you have one. But before I get into that, I want to encourage you to do this. Got a pencil? I'm going to pause here for a second. You got a pencil? You got something to write with? Write down this telephone number, 1-800-248-2931. 1-800-248-2931. Now, I want you to dial that number, and here's why. Because I want you to get real with this. I want you to maximize your opportunity. I want you to have above 80% customer retention. I want you to get it fast. I want you to have near perfect survey scores, and I want you to get them fast. I want you to maximize the opportunity you have to sell customer pay on your service drive, and without pushing people, without twisting their arms, and without selling stuff that doesn't need to be sold. I want you to be in that 2.5 range with hours per repair order, including your oil change. But I can't make that happen for you unless you dial that number. What's going to happen when you dial that number? We're going to talk to you here at Pro Talk. We're going to show you what our content is. We're going to show you what our products are. We're going to show you the many different ways we can deliver it. We can deliver it on DVD. We can deliver it online with a full testing. I've got, in those two categories, processes and videos for businesses, for big scale, and I've got it for the individual user, very, very price competitive, so it would not hurt you to invest in these things. We've got all kinds of stuff. We also have in-store training where my trainers, my expert trainers who've all been highly successful service advisors, service managers, and fixed operations directors will come in and stand side by side with you on your service drive and coach, critique, role play, and even write service, showing you how our processes work. They will do the same with the management training we have. Our management training is so on fire right now. It's unbelievable. Just 2 years on the market, and we are knocking it out of the park. And then, of course, you can bring me into your location for a private workshop, or you can send your people, and you can come to see me in a workshop. As a matter of fact, I'm doing workshops in Toronto. I'm doing workshops in Phoenix, Arizona, Atlanta, Georgia, in Indianapolis, Indiana, and you got to sign up. If you're going to be there all day long, why not maximize the opportunity? If you don't have a process, I'm going to give you a process that will get it done and get it done fast. I'm going to show you how to be the best you can be, how to maximize the opportunity. Because if you go home today to your significant other, and you go home today to your family, and they ask, did you do the best you could do, and you don't have the type of numbers I discussed earlier, 80% customer retention, perfect survey scores, 2.5 hours per repair order, you failed them and you cannot say yes. If you go home tonight and your kid wants a swing set and they don't have one, it ain't their fault, Dad, Mom, Grandma, Grandpa. I mean, come on. If you're going to be there, let's get serious about this. This is your career. This is what you stake your life on. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Now back to this. We were talking about why the processes that some of you called in and explained to me where the holes are in it. And as we already discussed, you don't have a clear process, and most of you didn't even have it written down. You have a process that was being used 50% of the time. That's not a process. There's no such thing as a process of convenience, because that's what we're talking about. Well, we do it when it's convenient. There is no such thing as a process of convenience. If you got a process of convenience, here's what that really means. It's a process for failure. It's 100% or it doesn't count. And we talked to you how we had too many hands in creating the process. Now we're ready for number 4. It's simply not been updated. Now, I addressed this a little bit last week, but things have changed so rapidly over the last decade. We went from not having multi-point inspections to now having them. That's new. We went from not having texting to having texting. We went from not having email to having email. We went from not having tablets to having tablets. We went to all these different software programs that your manufacturers brought in. You brought in new products for your people to sell to your customers and the like. Every time you bring something like that in, every single time you bring something like that in, you have to sit down with your process and you have to write in where it goes, and then you have to have a meeting with your people and explain to them what it is that you just brought in, where it fits in exactly into your process, how to execute what it is that you just brought in, the results you expect to have happen, the minimum results that you have to expect to have happen when by using that. If you don't do that, it's not updated. So this is something that's going to be a moving, rolling thing. It's a living, breathing animal, if you will. I mean, you might have to sit down and update it once a month. You might be able to get away with doing it once a year, twice a year, once every other year. But I will guarantee you this. I will guarantee you this. If you've not updated your process in the last 18 months, you have a process that has a flaw in it. It's not up to date. Finally, number 5. You have 2 different processes. It's funny how quite a few of you called and said, well, here's the process the service manager has developed, and here's one that fixed operations has for all of our locations, and then here's what the dealers tell us that they want, or the business owners tell us what I want, and nobody's clear, you know. And it's funny in workshops how many people say this. Well, yeah, we do walk-arounds, but it depends on who's there, because our manager wants us to do them, but when the fixed operations director comes in, he doesn't believe in them so much, so we don't do them there. Or we like to use that word track because the fixed operations director gave it to us and it works, but our manager who's there every day told us we don't have to use it. So I mean, you have too many different processes. You need to sit down, and whoever you want involved in this, I don't know that whoever you want involved in this, and sit down and write this out step by step, how each step is to be executed, what the results are that you expect for it being executed that way, and the like. And then the key thing with any process is you have to hold your people accountable to doing it. You know, no half, no when they feel like it, none of that stuff. You have to hold your people accountable to doing it. Here's what happens if you do it. Here's the results you're supposed to get. If you get those results, here's what you get paid. If you exceed those results, here's what you get paid. If you don't do it or you don't get the results, we're going to retrain you, give you another 30 days. And if you still can't do it or won't do it or can't get the results, then we may be talking about maybe you're not best for that chair. All right, so Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. That's my message for this week. I've got another one that's great one I'm coming back with next week. Hey, please do me a favor and pick up that phone and call me. Get in one of these workshops. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you and show you how to become the best we can be. Whether you're an individual that's paying for this yourself, that money will not keep us apart. If you're a business owner, get your people in there. This is real deal. It's time to get serious about this. Get your retention above 80%. Get your sales where they should be, your survey scores where would be or should be. Come and see me in these workshops. In the meantime, go out and find as many clients as you can, customers you can. Get them excited about your product. Show them that you're consistent. You've got a process that works, and you're going to deliver the same world-class service every time they come in, no matter what they come in for. And then when you do that, they're going to get excited. They're going to buy your product. You're going to take the commission you earn from that sale, and you're going to live the life you and your family deserve. Because between now and next week, that's exactly what me and everybody here at Pro Talk is going to do. We're going to go out. We're going to find clients. We're going to get them excited about our process. We're going to show them how it works. We're going to make them successful. We're going to take the commission we earned because we did that for them, and we're going to continue to live the lifestyles we have. You know what? Because we're living great lifestyles. We work hard. We're committed to process. We're committed to success, and it's great. And you'll love it, too, once you go down that path. Call us at 1-800-248-2931. Quit jacking around with it. Let's get serious about this, you want. Hey, Jeff Cowan here. See you next week. Bye-bye.